Welcome to the Cast Blast Grill Chill podcast with Jeremy and Trevor, the podcast that's all about hunting, fishing, grilling, and chilling out and having a good time in the outdoors.
Hey guys, a quick intro before we start the podcast. Can you guys go please give us a like on all of our social media and make sure to subscribe and like the podcast and rate us 5 stars if you can. It'd really help us out. We're Cast Blast Grill Chill on all social media platforms. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks guys. Welcome to Cast Blast Grill Chill. Joined as always by my cousin Trever for a little bonus episode talking about opening day of hunting season in Texas. Even though hunting season really never ends in Texas because you can always chase a pig or an exotic, but you had to go get your new license and we got to go shoot dove. Trevor, how you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. Joining you tonight from the man cave out here in the garage. So I may sound a little bit different. I'm calling in on the cell phone, but yeah, I'm doing pretty good overall.
Yeah, especially with your big deposits you had to go put down for your wedding venue upcoming and all that mess. So it seems like everything's rolling forward with that. It was pretty cool though, where we were sitting opening day, you were actually able to point out the venue.
Yeah, man, that was pretty cool. So when I originally went to go look at the venue with Danielle, I just so happened to look at that public lands. I was like, hey, dude, I'm going to go check out our opening morning dove spot, and found a nice sunflower field, and they were just slamming it. So I called you excited, like, dude, we're going here. And, yeah, so we ended up going out and we're able to see the venue on the other side of the hill there, from our hunting spot. So that was pretty cool. I was able to point to you and my dad like, hey, we'll be over there in, a year's time.
Yeah, definitely. And that was really cool. And on top of that, we had a bang-up opening morning between me, you, and your dad. I went in there at 4 o'clock in the morning and shook Thomas awake, and he was like eyes still half rolled back in his head. I was like, are you going? And he goes, no, too tired, too tired. I said, all right. I said, well, I'll ask you tomorrow morning if you want to go, because I won't be back till late tonight because it's opening day. We're going to at least get 2 hunts in today, so I'll see you this evening late. And I rolled out. My F-250 is taking to acting like the Exxon Valdez and has sprung a heck of a diesel leak, so I had to use the old lady's car and go hunting in a Volkswagen Jetta, which was interesting but surprisingly comfortable and really fuel efficient for making, 3 trips from my neck of the woods to splitting our neck of the woods to going north of your neck of the woods to just and everywhere in between, it seemed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was thinking about that. You were like, oh, man, I got to hunt out of a car, and all I was seeing was extra dollar signs in your pocket for hunting gear, decoys, and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. It was it panned out real well for me in the gas department. It didn't cost me near as much gas as it typically does, so that worked out surprisingly well in my favor.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, man. So while you were trying to get your son up, I was waking up about the same time, throwing some hunting gear on and, getting camo shirt, pants. And then I had to meet my dad at an Exxon because he hadn't been out to that spot yet. And I tried to send him a pin, and it just wasn't working out. And come to find out, I was sending him a Google Maps pin, and he only has Apple Maps on his phone, so he was like, I can't figure out why it's not working. I was like, oh, well, come to find out he was using the wrong thing. But yeah, so I ended up meeting him at the gas station there in the closest little town. And so we were quite early to the party, and we rolled in, oh man, an hour and 30 minutes before legal. And I was the first car at the Public, but literally by the time I got outside my car door, there was 3 cars parked behind me. And so it was a kind of a scramble, and I called you and I was like, hey, if I lay a track down on the Onyx, and just screenshot it and send it to you, are you good to walk in? Because you hadn't been out there either. And you're like, yeah, I'll find my way. Just go grab our spot. So we hiked in, and we're the second people in the property, but luckily I'd been out there the day before scouting and found a way around this large pond that kind of blocks your view and your path going straight in from the gate. So I think a lot of guys that maybe hadn't been out there before got a little turned around trying to figure out a way around the pond, which direction to go. And so we were able to go straight over, grab the 2 big shade tree spot on the property boundary there, overlooking the sunflower field. And yeah, so then we sat there and waited for you to get there.
Yeah, I guess I showed up about 30 minutes late, with trying to wake Thomas up and kind of shifting gear around in that Volkswagen. I just, generally I have a real set system, the way everything goes into the truck. I have my totes, and especially for dove season, there wasn't that a whole lot of gear except for the fact I was trying to bring some camera gear so we could, sit down and record a podcast. But once again, me and you get together, and that just never seems to happen because we either have family come over or we get busy cooking and going 900 different directions. So once again, that didn't happen. I had the tripod and everything to actually do a nice video podcast sitting out there in the back underneath the overhang, and we just proceeded to sit around and tell stories and BS. So it was good. I wouldn't have traded that for anything. That was a heck of a little meal that if you don't follow us on social media, you definitely should, because, we made dove poppers, so we obviously managed to kill a few birds. We managed. I did not get my backstrap and eggs in the blind, but we did manage to have bacon wrap backstrap off the smoker, so I'll let it slide. And then we also had a rack of baby backs that you smoked.
Yep, had some family over. Had my parents, Danielle, yourself, and Thomas, your son, and yeah, man. So we cooked up some delicious food. We ended up, it was 40 dove poppers, at least 8 or 10 good size, like 2-bite pieces of bacon wrap backstrap, and a rack of baby backs. And so we all got fed pretty dang good, and there was plenty of leftover poppers for you and I, and a couple of ribs for my lunch this week.
Yeah, I had actually finished my last popper. I've been conserving them. I've been eating the 1 or 2 a night ever since I got home from work Tuesday evening. I thought about just tossing them all on the grill and warming them up, but I'll tell you what, those bacon wrapped dove poppers are actually pretty good cold, just straight out of the fridge. Like first thing when you get home from work and you open the fridge going, I could really use a quick snack. And I've just been opening up that Ziploc and popping them in and eating them. They've been delicious.
Yeah, man, that cold cream cheese too, like I could definitely see that being good cold. I can't say that I've ever had one cold. Maybe I have, but I just don't remember. My favorite thing to do with them leftover, which is like I enjoy more than eating them straight off the grill, is cooking dove poppers and eggs the next morning for breakfast. That's my 100% favorite meal with poppers.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. I'll have to do that because I still have, probably a half dozen of, as my daughter calls them, Trever eggs.
Yeah, there you go. I meant to give you some more to take home. So.
Well, I imagine we'll be running into each other again here very, very soon, because it is that time of year where if we don't see each other every weekend, it's every other weekend.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, so back to opening day. So yeah, you showed up, like you said, about 30 minutes later than expected, but not 30 minutes late. So you're 30 minutes late, and my 30 minutes late is still early.
Yeah, still an hour before LST.
Yeah, so we still had, quite a few people walk in behind us. We were set up, BSing, and there were still people walking in, stumbling in, trying to find their way through. And,
yeah, it was definitely crowded in the parking lot by the time I'd gotten there. I think I counted at least a dozen, maybe more vehicles there when I rolled up, and I texted you back and forth, made sure you were at the pin that you sent me on Onyx. You said, yep, that's the pin I'm at. I said, cool, I'm on my way. I popped up the Onyx maps, kind of plotted me out a plan, and once again, their satellite view, being better, so much better than Google Earth, it panned out perfectly. Like, I saw guys go one direction, I went the other direction, and, they left 10 minutes before me, and then I'm there sitting there with you underneath the shade tree, and here they come trompsing by, 15, 20 minutes later.
Yeah, they come crashing through they'd been walking through 300 acres of sunflowers and that sunflowers are not comfortable to walk through. If anybody's walked through them in the t-shirt or something, you got exposed skin. They're a little bit pokey and they'll scratch you up, especially when they get real dry and, they're pretty much dead. They're ready to be shredded, but, yeah, they don't feel too great. And here they come with us still just sitting there. And, so yeah, onyx, man, yeah, can't say enough about the onyx stuff. It's been a game changer for sure.
Definitely. And then I guess we sat around there until legal. And actually, for once, I didn't hear an early shot. I don't think the first shot I heard ring off was probably until about 5-10 minutes after legal.
Yeah, because we sat there, and then here comes legal, and here it goes about, like you said, 5-10 minutes after, and then it was like, oh, there's a shot. And then it slowly kind of crept up till about 30 minutes after legal before we even took, our group of 3 even took our first shot. And we were like, man, is this how the morning's going to go? Because I really hope it isn't. It seemed to have a real slow start.
Yeah, especially for us. Because the guys down on the corner. Yeah, because the guys down on the corner were doing a lot of shooting, and the guys across the field, kind of on the opposite corner, were doing a lot of shooting. We were just kind of sitting there going, well, where are they at?
Yeah, we were kind of like, crap, did we totally just miss the X? Like, this looks like a dang good spot. It looks like every other good stuff spot I've ever hunted, 2 shade trees on a property line. We got, hay pasture behind us. We got a pond to our left, a pond to our right, sunflowers out in front of us, and this looks like a dang good dove field to me. So, yeah, we were kind of sitting there twiddling our thumbs, and I finally got a few good shots off, downed a few birds pretty quickly, and yeah, man, I mean, other than us just cleaning each other's birds up, we did real good on you'll wing them and I'll shoot them, or I'll wing them and then you down them, and then we did real good. Other than just a normal dove hunt, it was a good normal dove hunt in my eyes. There was nothing like spectacular. The only one thing that stands out to me in particular is seeing a lot of those dove actually work the mojos. I was really happy about that, because a lot of times, it's pretty much only opening day on public land around here that I see doves work mojos, and it's just like, you're finally like, all right, that thing was worth the $20 I spent on, or however much they cost.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing that I liked about this hunt versus some of the hunts in the past, because a lot of times we got to kind of go beat the bushes in order to go find the birds, either where they're flying, or just go find the roost and catch them either coming or going, or go shake them up out of a midday roost by just walking through the trees. But what was nice about this one was it wasn't like hot and heavy, but it was steady. Like, there was never more than 5 or 10 minutes where we were, oh man, it's about to stop, and then sure enough, here'd come another 3 or 4 birds. Here'd come another group of 2, another group of 4, and then it'd die off again for about 5 minutes, and then here'd come another group of birds. It was almost like the birds gave us just enough time to get out there in those head-high sunflowers, find our bird, and double back to where we were sitting in the shade and get steadied up and reloaded and get another shot. It was one of the.
It was about perfect speed. Yeah, definitely, I agree with you there. And there was a couple of times, you're out looking in the field, and I'm seeing a bird coming over the field, so I get to holler at you, say on your left, and you drop down for a second, and then put a smack on it, get that one real quick, and then keep looking for the bird you were looking for. And so it was about the perfect speed, man, because I've definitely been in it where you got groups kind of piling in on you, and it gets hot and heavy, and you can barely reload fast enough, and that's its own special kind of fun. But I think this was about the perfect speed that I would enjoy every single hunt. If every single hunt went like that, I wouldn't have one complaint.
Yeah, I'm with you. That hunt is definitely the dead-on perfect speed, because especially, since it's public and I'm not taking a dog on a crowded public field for darn sure. Just too many things can go wrong. So since you're out there hunting the birds up yourself out there in the middle of a field, I know, we got rained on quite a few times, and I got stung a couple times pretty good out there in that field, out there hunting birds, because once again, I'm shooting those Rio high brass sixes, and they'll reach out and touch a bird. And so I'm 80 yards out there looking for, a white wing that sailed, and, I marked it when it went down, and I'm out there, and a couple different occasions, I'd be out there and the guys on the other side of the field would open up and I'm literally going, Jesus, and hitting the deck and, just going, I hope that wasn't a low flyer because any second I'm about to get lit up if it was.
Yeah, and we had multiple conversations of, we hear, zing, and then it's like, oh, crap, yeah, that was one that I'm so glad did not hit me.
Yeah.
When you hear that noise, man, that puts you, kind of in the Vietnam fields, and you're like, it hit the deck for sure. I know. I got one good sting of a pellet, and then the rest I just got rained on, which is, the typical dove field that's loaded down public land. But I got one good one to the top of the kneecap that got me. And that one was like, ow, and then I know you got one to the neck. I saw it right when it got you, and I was like, oh, man, did you get stung by a bee? And you're like, nope, that was shot.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah, I caught a little number 8 in the neck, and it definitely, it stung. It wasn't like, oh, my God, painful or anything, but, that's the one thing I will give this hunt versus some of the other hunts we've been on before, on a dove field, is like nobody set up right on top of us. Like, yeah, somebody took a shot at a low-flying bird. Yeah, the pellets came zinging by us, but they weren't zinging at such a rate that they would break the skin. So, it's dove hunting. If you don't get rained on and you don't get, maybe peppered just a touch, there's probably not enough birds in that field to have a real good fun hunt.
Yeah, I was going to say you're not in the right spot probably, because that's just a part of it, man. Any good dove field I've ever been on, you're definitely getting rained on. But when, like you said, those low shots come at you and you hear that zing noise, it's a whole different story at that point in time.
Yeah, it's a little unnerving to say the least.
Yeah. I think kind of there were no trees really out in the middle. It was just field, and then on the fence line where we had our backs to, the trees that we were sitting underneath, other groups were sitting underneath, were spaced out perfectly. The group of 2 guys, they would share a shade tree. My dad and I shared one, and then you had the smaller one to our left that was close enough to where our group still felt together. And it was just perfect spacing in my mind that we weren't set up on top of, and other people really weren't given the option to set on top of us unless they just wanted to literally stand on a barbed wire fence.
Yeah, I mean, someone could have come and crammed
not
in.
Underneath any kind of food.
Yeah, somebody could have just come and crammed in, but it would not have been the ideal spot to sit. But yeah, so that morning we had a pretty darn good morning. We pretty much, all of us wound up with 6 or 7 birds, 5, 6 or 7 birds. We walked out of the field with 18 and had somebody give us 2. So we wound up with 20 birds that morning. So, that's not a bad morning at all. We talked to some other guys that were out there that morning, and it seemed like everyone was walking out of the field with 2s and 3s. So I don't know if they were coming from somewhere else and it wasn't the guys we were here and doing all that shooting, or if they were just not doing great shooting opening morning. It's hard to tell. I didn't ask. And
and being a waterfowl hunter too, you're always kind of on the side of, is this dude BSing me right now because he doesn't want me to go sit under that tree he was at? Did he really shoot a limit and that's why they're leaving 9 o'clock in the morning? Or are they really only shooting 2 birds per box of shells and that's why they're leaving?
Yeah, it's hard to say, and you never know. So, because I mean, we wound up packing up opening morning. What we packed up at 10:30.
Yeah, at 10:30, it started getting pretty toasty out there. Our shade trees were doing their job, but at that point, we were like, yeah, we could go back, get a little rest, and you and I were planning on getting an evening hunt. We were planning on going back to the same property and then trying another one in the morning, but we kind of reversed that and said, well, let's go check out the other property this evening, opening evening, to see if it's even worth going out all the way in the morning, or if we should just go ahead and, then we'll continue to hunt it if it's good or whatever. So we ended up going to a different property that evening.
Yeah, and we managed to scratch out a couple birds there. There were some guys that were in a better spot than us, and you caught the part of the conversation where they said that they'd been there all day, but they had well over 60 birds stacked up on the tailgate between the 6, 7, 8 of them. So
yeah,
I mean,
it was a bunch of youth, so that was cool. I'm glad that they had a good day. I think they had at least 3 or 4 kids with them.
yeah, they had 3 or 4 kids, and then they had their dog with them, and
yeah, real pretty silver lab. He looked kind of chocolatey silver. He was a real pretty dog, and yeah, so then. Yeah, 3, 4 kids, and then the rest adults, and yeah, they did real good. I'm glad that they had a good opening day. They definitely sat it out and held down their spot all day, and they were sitting on a tank that was right near the parking area, and we've hunted there before and managed to scratch out a good decent amount of birds. So yeah, man, I'm happy for them, and we worked a couple of birds, kind of worked hard for them, and tried to figure out. Because all the spots we wanted to sit had somebody in them that we were planning on the way over there. And before we left, like, oh, yeah, we'll sit here. Because we always say we're going to sit here. But we never actually go over there. So we were, dead set on going over there. And then every one of our backup spots, too, was kind of like, oh, there's somebody there, somebody there. So we ended up sitting in the same spot we always sit in. And it pretty much panned out exactly how it always does.
yeah, well, and the other thing is we didn't do ourselves any favors. We did not shoot great. I think we would have shot better had we taken a nap rather than sat around BSing and trying to figure out what we were going to do. Yeah, and then the other thing was that field didn't have any food in it. That field, was historically almost all goat weed, and there was nothing in it. It had been shredded, and it was just ankle-high cover, and the ground was totally parched, and there were cracks bigger than your hand in it. And I know for a fact I lost at least one bird down in that crack. It went down because I watched exactly where it fell, and once again, it was a kind of a sailor. It went probably 60 yards, and I walked over there for that bird for 10 or 15 minutes. And in ankle-high cover, you're not going to lose a bird in ankle-high cover, like, especially if you grit it out the way I did. But the only thing I can figure is it went down in one of those cracks, or Mr. Rattlesnake came up and snatched it and took it down in that crack, which, that's not something I'm too terribly keen on dealing with either.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And that property sure does have a lot of rattlesnakes. I know that firsthand, and definitely rattlesnakes and ticks, and that's prominent out there. That's the only tick I got on me was out there. Luckily, I usually get at least 3 or 4 crawling on me and 1 or 2 attached from hunting out there. But I only had one felt tick crawl up my leg before he dug in and was able to get him off. So I was glad I only had 1 tick crawl on me the whole weekend.
Yeah, I got 2 on me over the weekend, and neither one of them were attached. I felt both of them creepy crawling on me and was like, what is that? Oh, crud, it's a tick.
Yeah, so we ended up knocking down 5 more birds that evening. I had one real overhead, sky-high shot that I'm proud of, and it took me a second to find that bird because I think I got a little dizzy looking straight up in the air at it. But found that bird after moving spots a couple of times. We kind of bounced around, spread out, and decided to go across this tree line, and ended up knocking down 5 birds, on top of the 18 the 3 of us shot that morning. And so we had a real decent opening morning, man, and day. I'm happy with it. At 25 doves, that's 50 poppers. And that's the way I count birds, is how many poppers I get.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was a productive hunt. It was better than a lot of opening days we've had in the past. It was definitely a lot more fun. We definitely didn't hunt the hours that we have in the past to get that number of birds. And the hunting we did, I feel like, was a lot more enjoyable. It wasn't, all right, well, we know where we can go get birds, but the problem is it's a 3-mile walk down this old 2-track down over here to this little grove of quaky elms. And all right, well, let's go over here to these elms and we'll go wait for them to fly back at lunch and shoot them. And then we'll walk all the way back. And then we'll get back there to the parking lot and think, well, it's already 2:00. Let's go, I guess, just grab a bite to eat or eat a sandwich out of the cooler or, a Pro Bar and some water, and let's go ahead and post up on our spot for the afternoon because we know it's going to be crowded here. So that was kind of nice. We got to go at least sit back and suck up some air conditioning and watch some duck hunting on the Roku and kind of relax for a bit, and we went and had a heck of a lunch, so I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, man, I like that little spot out here, so... Yeah, we had a decent lunch, got back, got rested, and knocked out a few more birds, man. So that was opening day. And so with that in mind of how that evening went, it's a separate property from the morning. We decided, no, we're going to go back. We're going to hunt the same morning field again, that same sunflower field that we did opening morning.
Same trees, same everything. We're going to get there at the same time.
Same everything, and so let's start the process over again with you waking up your son.
Yeah, that didn't happen. he was not he was not a fan. He'd gotten himself grounded on Friday for a little bit of minor misbehaving at school. And so he didn't have his Xbox or his TV or anything because I didn't get home till 11:00 Saturday evening, and I came in, everybody was passed out asleep. So I came in, pretty much changed, let my new puppy out, let her do her thing, came back, put her back in the crate, and then I went to sleep because I was like, man, 5 hours of sleep, and by now it's already 12:30 because after coming in, getting changed, taking a shower, and let the dog out and everything. Some time had gone by, and I was like, yay, another 4 hours of sleep. That'll be spectacular. So, crashed out for 4 hours, woke up. I go in there, and I open his bedroom door, and he's not even in his bed. I was like, where the heck is he at? So I go over there and open his sister's room, and her TV's on, and they're both in there passed out. He's got her little fold-out couch laid down, and he's in there. I was like, nope, I'm not going in there because if I wake him up, she's going to wake up, and then she's going to want to go, and I love taking her into the field, but not on an opening weekend. She's only 6. She's a mite bit young yet, especially for a public land hunt that's got a mile hike through, sunflowers that are my head high, which will be double her head high. So I was like, I'm not even gonna waste my time. And then when I got home that evening, he was like, well, how come you didn't wake me up? I was like, well, you weren't in your room for starters. So I didn't know where you were, and then by the time I figured out where you were, I wasn't going to go accidentally wake up your sister. So, sorry, dude, you got left.
Yeah, and then that's a good point, man. Yeah, you got back late, and I picked up Danielle from downtown Austin over here. She went to a wedding that was held on September 1st for her boss, and
notice you were not in attendance.
No, I was not. And so, I got back so we probably crashed about the same time, and I crashed about 1:30. We got up early again, trying to beat the rush out to that property, and so I think we were both running on about 4 hours of sleep or so after a full day's hunt the day before, and we were both a little more sleepy that day. Got out there to our treat, and man, it was
slow, real slow.
It was real slow.
Yeah, that's one of the problems with early season morning doves in central-ish Texas is the fact that you're pretty much only hunting local birds. So if you get a hot field with a lot of birds on it and a lot of guys in it, you can kind of shoot a field out in a big hurry. And after deliberating all morning on comparing deer hunting to duck hunting and which we like more and why we like it, and trying to draw comparisons between the two, which I'm still convinced like we did a horrible job on that. I don't think you can compare the two. It's apples and oranges. But
yeah, how we kind of ended up doing that, the way I was kind of trying to steer the conversation was, you know, why I prefer deer and you prefer duck. And we were trying to make comparisons on excitement level being like the scale. So we were saying things like, you know, shoot a band or shoot, you know, public land archery, you know, 125 class buck, or, you know,
a 150 class buck, or, you know, banging out a limit of greenheads, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. So all these different scenarios, trying to get it to match and say, you know, me say like, you know, a suggestion of this, and then it's like, well, does that sound fair on your side? Like, does that sound even? It's kind of like, well, maybe if you added like a band to the scenario, or you added a 2-man limit with 2 people instead of a 1-man limit with 1 person, because you throw in the camaraderie, and then, you know, so it was like back and forth of us just coming up with these kind of scenarios, comparing the two, trying to get them to equal out and say, well, yeah, I think I would be excited, liking deer hunting more. I think I would be as excited to shoot a 1-man limit solo as I would to shoot X buck or 3 does or whatever the scenario was. So we kind of played that game for quite a while.
Yeah, the conclusion I came to is that I need to see as many deer, or like have that kind of thing where I see a bunch of deer in order to get excited about deer hunting, because I see a few deer, but I don't see enough deer really to get excited. You know, and
I think we came to the conclusion of I just need to see more numbers of ducks, and have more ducks work is probably the thing is like, if I had more ducks work in the way that, you know, ducks should work when you're calling them in, and, you know, everything just kind of goes perfect, you have more of those mornings, then I would probably be, you know, it would teeter-totter a little bit more towards duck hunting. So I think we both just have experienced one more than the other was kind of our conclusion. So that's kind of why we prefer, you know, this or that.
Exactly. And we had to do something, because all morning long we might have saw a half dozen birds. And how many did we get that morning? 3?
3 birds. I fired 8 shots.
Yeah, I don't even think I shot half a box of shells. And there at the end, me and you were both taking some kind of pokey shots at some birds that had oxygen masks on, and like we're up there with the U-2 spy planes because they were high flyers.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that
and then we cut it at 9 a.m. as well.
Well, the one thing I will give that morning is we had those 2 pigeons, or like it was 2 or 3 pigeons. I mean, they wanted those mojos something bad. They came in from behind us, you know, off the piece of property behind us, and they came and they flew on our left-hand side, circled back, and went back over the other property, like really, really fast. And then they came back and circled them. I can't remember if we even shot at them or not, but they went down to the opposite corner, and the guy on the corner shot at them, and they came back and tried to get on those mojos again, but they just wouldn't ever get out in front of us far enough to shoot. But that was probably the highlight of the morning, working birds.
Yeah, and one pair of white wings worked similarly, and then I called you got the front bird, and then you heard that I was going to shoot the front bird, so we both hammered the front bird.
Yeah, we kind of hammered that bird to pieces.
Yeah, so we definitely we need to work on our bird calling. I think I said something like, "You got front bird," or
Yeah, that's
You
that is what you
your
said.
front bird or something like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
it was like you were hearing that I'm calling the front bird. It's kind of like baseball players calling it in the outfield. Like two people like got it, run towards the ball and collide.
Yeah, I got it. We don't got it because we both ran into the same thing. Because that's what I was looking at. I was like, why is that front? I was like, that first bird's not dead. And I was like, oh, we stoned that bird because we both hammered it. Yeah, that was a yeah. They came dead in on us, just diving at those mojos. So yeah, that was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Like I said, man, that was probably the highlight of my weekend besides just grilling with the family and eating poppers, which I absolutely love to do, was just watching doves work and getting to shoot doves, like kind of like decoying like ducks, man. I just always enjoy that because, the mojos, a lot of times, especially after opening day, really, they grab attention, but they don't want to work into like a decoy spread like ducks do. But opening morning, man, they're just like, working straight into them. So I always like hunting them like that.
Yeah,
it's
definitely. But yeah, so like you said, we called that hunt at 9:00. It was already getting hot. There were not enough birds flying. I think we were probably the first guys out of the field. And we pretty much bailed and left. And I went home. We decided we weren't even going to hunt that afternoon. So
I think we had decided that running off 4 hours of sleep, we were kind of like, man, it's not even worth it to have this morning's been. If this one shut down, if this property shut down this much, that other property's probably shut down even harder. So we'll just get some rest in, and then
we'll figure out a plan for it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, get your son out there tomorrow, and we'll go hit up a youth property.
Yeah,
that's what we did.
Yeah, we went out there and hit up the Page West youth area. I can't really speak on it. The weather didn't really cooperate a lot that morning. I ran into some rain traveling in, and it was so foggy that morning. I mean, that fog didn't burn off till 9:30.
Oh yeah, at least. I mean, it was a real late burn off on the fog. We had quite a bit of rain surrounding us, and the humidity was, I think it was like a 98 or 99% humidity. And it was sticky and muggy. And so walking out there in the dark, man, I was like, it's probably not going to be the best hunt, but as long as Thomas has fun, like, this is the whole reason we're coming out today at all, was just to get him at least to have some fun out here. Even if we don't shoot anything, I hope he at least gets to have a good time and maybe just shoot his gun a little bit.
Yeah, and he had a good time. We went and did some exploring. I'll tell you what, that place is lousy with mockingbirds. I've never seen so many mockingbirds in one place in my life. There's probably 1,000 mockingbirds just on that little corner of that tank we were sitting on. And I really think that place probably is a pretty decent spot for an afternoon hunt. I just don't feel like on a foggy morning it was the right place to be at the right time. But I feel like in an afternoon situation, especially with as dry as it's been, like, those birds will be coming to that tank.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And speaking on future stuff, dove-wise, we've had since that foggy morning, which was Monday, Labor Day, and we are now on the Thursday after Labor Day. We've had rain here every day, and that spot's most of these spots are about 30 minutes from my house or so. So, we've had rain here every single day since then. So, I don't know what the birds have done. I know a lot of the local birds got shot up opening morning. That's probably why we had such a big shutdown so quickly. That and them just getting shot at for the first time in months and months. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna have a little push down to get some more birds in before we can have another shoot like that.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for a north wind sometime soon because, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm gonna go probably Sunday. Saturday is Thomas's 11th birthday party because, unfortunately his birthday is usually the weekend of Labor Day or the week that school starts, being that his birthday's the 25th of August. So we always do his party either in the middle of August or the second weekend in September, just because of, everyone travels for Labor Day. No one can make it to the party because, everyone's got something going on. So we always either delay it or have it early. And I feel like doing it a little late is probably a little better for him because, if he's got new school friends or something he wants to invite, he can always invite them, after the first week of school. So he's definitely,
sure.
definitely gives him more options. So yeah, we're going to the,
for sure, man.
So Saturday we're going to the trampoline park from 2 to 4. And then if everything pans out right, like I may try and sneak off to a place that's close to here. There's a couple places that I've been kind of thinking about going, but I've got definitely a spot in mind for Sunday that I'm going to go check out. I've a couple, fans of the show been talking to me, and I've got one spot that one guy recommended to me that I'm curious to go check out. Never been there before, so I'll be going in blind, deaf, and dumb, and I'm going to go check it out and see how it goes on a Sunday.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. I got an invite to go hit up that property we hit up opening evening for this Saturday. Said I'd let them know tomorrow if I will be joining or not. I don't know what the weather's going to do, but we have a backup plan if I do go out of small game hunting, so go shoot up some squirrels out there too, which is always a good backup plan.
Yeah, and squirrel is definitely tasty, and you definitely know where the squirrels are out there because we found them many a time.
Oh yeah, and this guy, he goes out there and small game hunts quite often, so yeah, it should be good either way if I do end up getting out.
Well, shoot, man, that sounds like a heck of a plan. Definitely shoot me some pictures and let me know how you do, and I will do the same for you on Sunday. And then if this spot on Sunday turns out to be a decent spot, we'll have to go hit it up again a little bit later in the season.
Sounds good, man.
Well, cool. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Like I said, happy hunting season to everybody once again. Get out there, be safe, drag a kid with you, even if you got to wake them up at 4 o'clock in the morning and drag them out of bed. And definitely, start getting all your decoys and all your teal stuff ready because we are literally, tomorrow's Saturday, or, by the time you hear this, because it's Thursday night, this won't come out till Friday. But, the following weekend is opening day of teal season. Actually, I got a text message while we were recording this one here, Trever, from our buddy down on the coast. So I'm about to confirm our reservation down there and make sure we're good to crash at his pad and go shoot up his birds.
Sounds awesome, man. I'm ready to get down there.
Yeah, and what's nice is he lives on that great big ranch, and it's usually either cotton or beans or corn that's all behind his house. So generally after the fact, we'll go put the mojos on the fence and sit out there and shoot doves out of the front yard. Yellow.
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Did you hear that, or did you break up for a second?
Yeah, no, I heard you, and then I responded, but you must not have heard it.
Yeah, so I didn't hear you when you heard my response about shooting doves out of the front yard.
Oh, yeah, man, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like I said, everybody get outside, enjoy it. The fun times have arrived. All we need now is a north wind to push us some fresh birds.